we are going to be doing lesson 4-7, thousandths. Make sure to go ahead and write that at the top of your page. Okay, so I want you to think about thousandths here and where that lands on the place value chart. So just watch me here for a second. I'm going to get my decimal point ready. And we've got ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and so on, right? When we're thinking about a place value chart. And to move that way, it's 1 times 10 is 10, 10 times 10 is 100, 100 times 10 is 1,000. So to move this way on the place value chart, you need to multiply by 10, okay? And then when we're going this way on the place value chart on this other side of the decimal, we're going to end up dividing by 10. Okay, so we can make our numbers bigger, multiply by 10, smaller, divide by 10. So I have 1 is my whole here, divided by 10 is a tenth. A tenth divided by 10 is 100th. And 100th divided by 10 is 1,000. Okay, so today we're going to be using place value blocks again to model this, but instead of our 1 being a flat, I needed more place value blocks here. So now our 1 is our big giant cube here, okay? So now our cube, which if I were to draw this, we've got our flat, right? And to show it that it's a cube, that's how I would draw it. So a cube is now my 1, okay? So a cube is equal to 1. So go ahead and draw a cube right like that in your notebook. So it's just a flat with another part around it is equal to 1, the whole today. Okay? So when I think about dividing by 10 right there, which place value block do I have 10 of? If I were to break this up into tenths, I would end up using my flats, right? Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 flats is equal there to my 1 whole cube, right? So now we've got a flat. Go ahead and draw me a flat in your notebook is equal to 1/10, and I can write that in decimal for you. 1/10. And then if I were to divide one of my flats, my tenths, into 10, then I've got my 10 longs, right? So when I think about my place value chart here, dividing by 10, 1/10 divided by 10, I've got 10 longs that is equal to that. So that's my hundredths. So now I've got a long that is equal to 1/100th, or 0 times 100th. And then finally, if I'm going to take my long right here, my 100th, and divide that by 10, I'd end up with my cubes, right? 10 cubes right there to equal 1,000th. So then last, we've got a cube is equal to 1,000th. For decimal point 0.001. Okay, so I've got right here 1 whole, but I would write this as 1 decimal point 0, 1 whole and 0 tenths. You got 0 wholes and 1/10, 0 wholes and 100th, and 0 wholes and 1,000th. Okay, so go ahead and pause right here and make sure that you've drawn each one of those in your notebook and labeled them appropriately. When you're ready to move on, you can go ahead and unpause that video. I'm going to go ahead and erase right here. Okay. So I want you to think about, remember, I'm going to draw this back up. You've got it already in your notebook. We've got our whole, and then I've got a flat is equal to 1/10. A long is equal to 1/100 of my whole, because my whole is a big old 1,000 cube. And then a cube is 1/1000th of that whole right there. Okay, so I'm going to draw some base 10 blocks, and I want you to draw those same ones down below, and then go ahead and write the equivalent fraction in decimal. So we'll do a couple together, and then Mrs. Treach will come on, and you can do a couple to check your understanding. So right here, I've got a flat, and 2, 3, 4 longs, 2 thousandths, or 2 cubes right there. So remember, 10 flats is equal to my giant cube right there. So this is my 10th. So I have 1/10, and these are my hundredths now because I've changed the whole. So I have 1/10, 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths, and 2 thousandths. So this is equal to 142 thousandths. Or I can write that as 142 thousandths. Okay, so go ahead and write those two things in your notebook if you haven't yet. This next one here, I've got 2 flats. So again, think how many flats is equal to the whole. There's 10 of them. Those are tenths. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubes. How many cubes is equal to the whole? 1,000 cubes. So now this time, I've got 2 tenths and 5 thousandths, or 205 thousandths. I'm going to write that as 205 thousandths. Okay, so go ahead and pause right here. Make sure that you jotted those two things down. Mrs. Treach is going to come on and take it from here. We'll see you guys.
Okay, boys and girls, so we're going to do a little bit of practice on what you've just learned from Mrs. McGuire. And so I want to go ahead and just put this chart up here so that you can see, as a reminder, this may be a good visual for you. Go ahead and in your notebook, make the 4 columns if you want to. I know it helps me. And go ahead and put that decimal point, oops, sorry, right behind the big cube, okay? All right, the first practice problem I'm going to give you are five flats. Go ahead and mark that in decimal notation below how you would put 5 flats. Okay, remember flats right here. We have 0 big cubes and 0 of the rest. That's the same thing as saying 5 tenths. Okay. In fraction notation. That'd be 5 out of 10, or 5/10. Or 0.5. Okay. I'm going to give you one now to do on your own. This time, I want you to consider a big cube with 4 longs and 3 little cubes. Go ahead and use your chart if you need to write that in decimal notation.
Friends, pause right there and make sure that you answer that question. And when you're done, you can unpause and Mrs. Treach will check for your understanding.
Okay, so you should have gotten 1 and 0, 4, 3, which is 1 and 43 thousandths.
All right, friends. Thanks for watching. Bye.